Hello and welcome to the Chapter 13 module for the subject Effective Team Management. The first thing I want to talk about is the quiz study list that we introduced in the last module and the result of your feedback regarding the effectiveness of using this. And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. It was almost 100% said that they found it very useful. So we'll continue doing this from now on for the rest of the modules in this course. One of the comments that I thought was that it reoccurred and I thought was very interesting was that some people said that they used the list as they read the chapter so that it was much easier and quicker for them to find the answers to the quiz questions. I want to go through a brief chapter review now and do that by going through the basic sections of the chapter to see kind of an overview of how the chapter is intended to work. The first two topics are an introduction and then the nature of groups and teams. And these both are on page 379. The next section after that talks about the structural influences on group effectiveness. And that begins on page 381. Then we have a section that talks about the process influences on group and team effectiveness. That begins on page 387. And the last is a contextual influences on group effectiveness beginning on page 399. So you can see from looking at this that the chapter is really about the structures, processes, and context that influence a group or team. Our quiz assessment can be reviewed by looking at the Chapter 13 quiz study list, and that should help you both in finding the answers as you read the chapter, and also there's the fact that it relieves the pressure because you've got kind of like all the time you need to go look for various questions. And I believe this is actually having a very noticeable effect on the improvement in scores for the quiz. Our project assessment is on the subject of effective team management, and as in the past, you're to read the chapter 13, and then create an original essay with a minimum total word count of 400 words on the subject of effective team management. In your first paragraph, using the material on pages 379 through 381, I'd like you to discuss the concepts of groups and teams. In this first paragraph, I'd like you to be sure to comment on the difference in leadership between the two types of entities. What's the difference in leadership between a group and a team? In the second paragraph, I'd like you to describe how structure influences group effectiveness. And I'd like you to include in that paragraph the difference between two particular types of teams, a task force team and a project team. So be sure you comment on that in the second paragraph. Your third paragraph describes how process influences group and team effectiveness. So in the second paragraph, we're talking about the structure influencing group and team effectiveness. And in this third chapter, you're talking about how process influences group and team effectiveness. For the fourth paragraph, I'd like you to read the case study on Jones Pizza on page 386 and answer question number 2 in this paragraph. So you may want to give a bit of a pre-introduction into the case study and then answer the question. Be sure to indicate the total word count in a new separate line at the end of the essay. I'd like to just remind you that the minimum number of words is 400. This is not your target. You're not supposed to try to get 400 or 401 words. Those who do more usually get better grades. Our last item in the module is the discussion, Chapter 13, feedback and comments. And as usual, please give me your comments, questions, or suggestions that you might have come across as you went through the module. Thank you. Have a good module, and I'll see you again soon.